In Virginia, Candace Martinez finds her place in the world in the arms of her college sweetheart.
Candace and Dave were inseparable. You saw one, you saw the other.
But when the teenagers run low on cash, Candace risks it all for love and becomes one of the nation's most well-known fugitives.
It was bold, brazen, it was unlike anything we'd ever seen.
She would have done just about anything for him because that's the only relationship she's really ever had.
And later, in Florida, Janae Rembert is a lost soul, working the streets, until she falls for a charming man with a dangerous proposal.
She had no one to turn to. He gave her what she thought was love.
Whenever he would snap her fingers, she would do whatever he said.
They treated these women no better than caged animals.
Candace Martinez's childhood stands in stark contrast to the vibrant tourist mecca of Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Candace really never had a chance. From the time she was born, she was a child, unfortunately, surrounded by neglect.
After her parents' divorce when she's 5, Candace bounces between a drug-addicted mother and an abusive father. By age 12, she drops out of school and spends most of her time on the street.
She was constantly in a state of change. Candace felt like she was alone in the world and she had to fend for herself.
Candace began drinking, using pills, using drugs, 12 years old, running the streets of Santa Fe.
Despite being on the streets, Candace knew that this wasn't the life that she really wanted and was smart enough to know that she needed to break that cycle.
Then one day, she finds a light at the end of the tunnel.
She saw a commercial for a famous home for wayward children in Nebraska.
With the help of a social worker, Candace moves 1,000 miles away from her broken life in New Mexico. And for the next 5 years, she thrives. She even graduates high school and at 18 years old enrolls in college. But just as everything seems to be going her way, her life takes a sinister turn.
She meets a guy, and this guy was abusive toward her, and this sent her in a spiral back into her old ways, and she didn't even complete her freshman year.
Candace was not prepared for life. She did not have those skills. When you don't have those skills, you do the best thing. You run away.
So she dropped out of school. She went right back to her bad lifestyle, drugs, running the streets, partying, disappearing for weeks on end.
Part of this is because she was really never given the tools to cope with adversity, and the other part was this was something that she knew.
But the troubled 19-year-old gets a second chance at life when a cousin from the Washington, D.C. suburb of Burke, Virginia, invites her to come out east and live with her.
She offered her a way out to get your life together, go to school, get back on the right track.
Candace felt excited about the opportunity to once again start over. She felt like she could make a new her.
She packs up and heads to Virginia. Within just a few months, things are already looking up.
She got to work on remaking her life again. She got a job selling memberships at a gym.
She enrolled in the local community college. She was working on a degree in technology, radiological technology.
It might look like her days of making bad decisions are over, but they have just begun. That fall, while studying on campus, Candace eyes an attractive fellow student, 19-year-old Dave Williams.
He was handsome. He had a beautiful smile, long braids. Candace was definitely attracted.
Never one to be bashful with men, she prances over to him and strikes up a conversation.
Her pickup line was, "I like your hair, can you braid my hair like that?" And Dave thought that was pretty cool, and they began talking.
It's a brief encounter, but Candace is intrigued. The two exchange numbers and start to talk regularly. She can tell right away that Dave is different than the other guys she's dated.
He's an average guy. He shows her respect. He's nice to her. He's kind. He's courteous.
He didn't drink and he didn't do drugs. Dave seemed like just your standard suburban good kid.
He tells her he's studying engineering and admits that he's a bit of a mama's boy.
His parents had divorced, but they lived very close to each other, and Dave lived with both of them. Mainly he lived with his mother. He relied heavily on his mother.
He had a promising future ahead of him, and the icing on the cake was that he wanted her. He was all about her.
She can't believe how lucky she is. After only a few weeks of dating, the college freshmen spend every free moment together.
They were inseparable. They were actually infatuated with each other. It happened so fast.
But before these young lovers can ride off into the sunset, Dave gets some troubling news. His father, an assistant financial controller at a resort, is arrested for embezzlement and sent to jail for almost a year. Dave is devastated.
Dave's home life, which had been a solid rock for many years, was suddenly crumbling.
Candace does her best to be there for her boyfriend.
Why don't we move in together?
She thought that the best way for Dave to get out of this rut, this depression, was for them to move in together. They could be together 24/7. They could be happy.
After only a month of dating, the college couple gets an apartment in Chantilly, Virginia, 15 miles west of Burke. But soon realize they've bitten off more than they can chew.
They had no financial skills. If you rent a place, you have to pay the rent in a timely fashion every month. You have to sometimes pay the electricity, you have to pay the gas, you have to pay the water.
They virtually had no money. Dave didn't have a job. He was depressed about his family situation, and her job just wasn't paying enough for the bills.
Both Dave and Candace were young, they were naive, and bills were starting to pile up. They didn't know how to handle their finances. Money was running thin, and they were getting desperate.
That's when the good guy comes up with a dangerous solution to their problems.
He felt like his world was collapsing and that he needed to come up with a quick way to give them some financial solvency.
What's it gonna do?
So did we rob the bank?
He came up with a plan to get them some money fast.
They were crazy in love. She would have done anything for him.
In Chantilly, Virginia, Candace Martinez's college boyfriend, Dave Williams, comes up with a crazy plan for the young lovers to pay the bills.
So instead of like normal people and getting another job and finding a legal way of paying the rent, Dave suggested that they rob a bank.
At first, the 19-year-old thinks he's joking, but quickly realizes her man is dead serious.
Dave had worked in a bank before, and he knew how bank tellers worked. He made it clear to her how they could pull this off.
The former teller wants to hit his old bank, just 20 minutes away in Vienna, Virginia.
This was one where he had familiarity and was able to convey to Candace that there's a certain comfort level in terms of knowing who's in there, where the tellers are, how the security is set up.
She knows that if she's not down with the plan, she might risk losing the love of her life.
She had never had such a stable figure in her life as Dave was. And at this point, she wanted to preserve the relationship. And so she was willing to do anything that it took, even going along with this crazy idea of robbing a bank to keep that relationship alive.
Let's do this. Come on, let's rob a bank. Okay, get it.
How much money do you think?
Excited, the two college students pull an all-nighter, but instead of cramming for exams, they prepare for their first ever bank heist.
They got on the computer and they typed up a note and printed it out. They cut it up and they put it on the front side of a shoebox so that the shoebox could be used to collect the money.
This was carefully planned out. He wanted to make sure that she felt secure.
The only snag is that if Dave sets foot in the bank, his former co-workers might recognize him.
So Candace sort of volunteered that she would do it.
I can do that. That's easy.
She agrees to fly solo inside the bank.
She wouldn't have to say anything. She could just hand the note over on the box and take the note back, not leaving any evidence.
And her boyfriend is confident that the teller will hand the cash right over. But in case anything goes wrong, he'll be right outside in the getaway car.
Dave told Candace it would be like stealing candy from a baby.
1 week later, the couple makes their move.
It was the middle of the day. They pull up to this bank. They're both in the car. It's really tense.
So Dave was worried. He wasn't going into the bank. Candace was going into the bank. So he had an idea, which was have her be on the cell phone. The two of them could be in constant contact during the robbery.
Candace grabs her cell, gives her man a quick kiss, and then casually gets out of the car. Dave keeps the engine running.
And so, before she went in for the robbery, he called her, and they were on the phone, and she is talking on the phone as she walks into the bank, carrying the box with the note on the front.
Despite all of their preparation, there's one precaution they didn't take.
There was no covering of Candace's face. They hadn't planned for that. They just were immature.
She felt that I'm nondescript anyway. I'm just a little Latin girl, and I'm like all the rest. No one will point me out. We all look alike.
The bold young woman enters the bank, holds the shoebox in one hand, and talks with Dave on her cell phone in the other.
Her entrance was excellent because it did not attract attention.
She looked like an average person making a deposit or dropping something off. No one would suspect that she was robbing this bank.
She does her best to avoid the cameras and approaches the first teller. Candace smiles and slides the box towards the teller, casually chatting with Dave all the while.
The note wanted $70,000, and it instructed the teller to hand it over, and that the robber had a gun, and that either the teller or the person next to the teller would get shot if the money wasn't handed over.
Terrified, the woman does as instructed.
The teller put as much money as she could into the box, as quickly as she could.
In the minutes that it took for Candace to rob this bank, the teller put in $14,480 in this shoebox.
Once outside, she walks briskly to the car, careful not to draw attention. The couple speeds off, elated at what they just did. Candace is amazed at how easy it is to pull off a bank robbery.
No police, no chases, no one got hurt, and they got a substantial amounts of money. So I'm sure they thought they hit payday.
To celebrate, the couple goes on a shopping spree.
All they could think of was spend, spend, spend. They spent it on designer purses, a car, TVs, electronics.
In just a week, thanks to their now lavish lifestyle, they quickly burn through their cash. But they have a foolproof way to solve that problem.
They decided to rob another bank.
Once Candace succeeded in the Vienna bank robbery, this improved her self-esteem, gave her some real power, and it made her feel much more valuable to be in this relationship with David.
Just 9 days after their first robbery, while authorities are trying to figure out who the mysterious robber is, the couple hits a bank from the same chain, 7 miles south in Manassas, Virginia.
The MO was the same. Dave was the getaway car guy, the same note, in the same box.
But this time, the bank robbing lovers are disappointed with the haul.
They got, I think, $3,200 out of that. Wasn't a big hit. Gotten $14,000 before, so they quickly decided to do another robbery.
The very next day, they strike again. This time, a bank 20 miles east in Springfield, and things are much more tense.
The teller was really slow. She was nervous. She was afraid. And Candace got more bold and cocky.
Candace said, "Speed it up."
Speed it up, or someone's gonna get hurt.
The teller puts the money in the box. They get about $6,000 from this robbery, and Candace escapes.
Because they didn't get as much money as they wanted to in the last robbery, they know that they really need to step it up. And by doing this, she's feeling stronger, more accomplished, braver.
Candace doesn't hide her identity during any of the robberies. And lucky for her, any images the bank cameras happen to capture are useless.
The banks had not gotten a good image of her. The technology of surveillance cameras in banks was not great.
All the authorities have to go on is a vague description of the brash bank robber. With 3 heists in 3 weeks, they're on a roll and hungry for more, so the young lovers plan their next move. But Dave wants to up the ante. He hands Candace a .38 caliber revolver.
This time they really went for a big hit, and somebody was going to get hurt.
And later, in Hollywood, Florida, Janae Rembert learns that following your heart can have dire consequences.
McKinley had a power over Janae. All she cared about was him and what he wanted.
He gave her what she thought was love.
The teller that Candace robbed in their second robbery was traumatized.
She lost sleep, she had flashbacks, she didn't trust anyone. The emotional scars will always be with those tellers because they were scared for their life.
In Northern Virginia, after successfully robbing 3 banks in 3 weeks, Candace Martinez and her boyfriend Dave Williams are not about to slow down. And the young lovers look to raise the stakes.
This time, Dave gave Candace a gun, a .38. He apparently borrowed the gun from his stepdad, not telling the stepdad what he was going to be using it for.
He gave her a gun because if she had one, the tellers would probably respond faster, give her more money.
Just a week after their last robbery, one afternoon, the outlaw lovers drive 20 minutes to a bank in Ashburn, Virginia. While Dave idles by the entrance, she saunters into the bank, gun tucked away in her purse, cell phone to her ear, and a shoebox in her hand.
She walks up to the counter, she puts her purse on there. She slowly pulls out a gun just a little bit to show the teller, just enough so that the teller knew she meant business.
Afraid for her life, the teller quickly does as she's told. With the box now overflowing with cash, Candace hops in the car with her man, and the two take off.
This time, they hit it big. She walked out with nearly $25,000.
It's another perfect bank robbery, but their luck might have finally run out.
What she didn't know was this time, the camera up behind the teller was getting a good picture of her.
So this particular bank had a more advanced security system. So their bank surveillance actually captured her face in full detail.
The cameras not only took a picture of her, but the outside was able to capture the car.
With this new evidence, local authorities team up with the FBI to hunt down this mystery female who's brazenly robbing banks. They send the latest bank surveillance footage of Candace and the getaway car to every television channel in the U.S.
Suddenly, the news media catch on to this. This woman has been robbing these banks while using a cell phone, and we called her the cell phone bandit. The fact that there was video footage sent the story careening around the world.
Despite their brand new widescreen TV, Dave and Candace have no clue that federal agents are hot on their trail.
They were living in this Bonnie and Clyde fantasy world. They didn't know that they were plastered all over the 24-hour news cycle.
But only a few days after their 4th robbery, reality sets in. Dave's mother calls him after seeing Candace on the news, and he panics.
He'd been a good boy, he'd been a law-abiding guy, and he realized suddenly something clicked, that he needed to get back on the right track.
1 week after their 4th and final robbery, Dave turns himself in to the Fairfax County Police Station.
You're dealing with a young person. You're not dealing with a hardened criminal. The gig was up. The game is over.
And he immediately gives up Candace.
He flipped without hesitation and told them that it was his girlfriend. So the FBI and the police begin to stake out their apartment. Eventually, Candace shows up and she's arrested.
Realizing there's no way out, she comes clean. But like Dave, she doesn't hesitate to turn on her lover, saying it was all Dave's idea.
We robbed a bank.
They were both charged with conspiracy to commit bank robbery and use of a firearm, which adds 5 years to any other crime.
They both plead guilty to the charges and are sentenced to 12 years without parole.
They're ordered to give back all the stuff that they had bought, but also to pay back the cash that they'd stolen from the banks. When they walk out of prison, they are responsible for repaying around $43,000.
For Candace, while she doesn't blame Dave for her choices, she regrets ever being involved in the robberies.
Candace was extremely remorseful. She knew that she had had this brilliant second chance at life. She had escaped Santa Fe for a second time, and she blew it.
Blinded by love, she now has to face the harsh consequences of everything she gave up for just under $50,000.
She was the face of the robberies. She had the most to lose. She risked it all because of her love for Dave. She risked her freedom, her livelihood, her family.
Candace so desperately wanted someone to love her, and she cared more about Dave and that relationship than she cared about herself, even though at the end of all of it, she completely lost her freedom. She lost 12 years of her life.
Candace Martinez cashed in her good sense so she could live a fairy tale life with her college sweetheart. In Hollywood, Florida, Janae Rembert desperately clings to a man who has a warped way of expressing his love. Growing up in Miami, Florida, Janae Rembert never knew what it was like to be part of a loving family.
She was one of 4 children that her mother had with 4 different men. Some of the other children lived with foster parents or with grandparents.
She was the cutest little girl. She had the widest smile. But behind that smile, my sister was really sad, and she was living a very hard life.
She's never even set eyes on her dad, and her mother is not the best caretaker, to say the least.
Janae wasn't fed or taken care of a lot. She would go to school and smell like urine and had to get sent home because she wasn't dressed properly.
At 6 years old, social services finally steps in, citing neglect. She's removed from her mother's care. As the years go by, the young girl bounces from foster homes to family members. At the young age of 15, she runs away to take her chances on the streets.
She just felt so unloved. She felt like, you know, she had no one to turn to. So that's where she ran away in search of love.
She was just running away from that profound pain that she felt as a little girl. And she was just looking for a place, some place, where she felt she truly belonged.
For the next 3 years, the troubled teen floats around the city, honing her self-destructive behavior.
She became a whole different person. She started doing really bad things.
She has no parental supervision around, has no family dynamics that keep her safe. So they end up consorting with people that are less law-abiding.
She did not have a job. She wasn't in school. She's sleeping over here on this couch. She's sleeping over here on that couch. She's using drugs.
To fund her drug habit, Janae sells the only thing she can, her body.
She starts prostituting for money, but she made the decision that that lifestyle was working for her, and that's what she did.
By the young age of 18, her life is in a downward spiral, and when it looks like things can't get much worse, she meets a charismatic man with a sadistic side.
He was her whole world. Her boss, her daddy, her lover, all combined together.
He would snap his fingers and she would jump.
In Miami, Florida, after years of running wild on the streets, 18-year-old Janae Rembert spends her days prostituting for drugs.
And I wouldn't say necessarily there's a reason why she did it, but that's just what she chose to do at the time. I was so worried about her. She felt like no one really loved her.
Janae was abandoned very early in her life, and therefore she started to develop this me against the world mentality. But all of that was a mask for what she truly felt, which was that she was alone.
As she is living pillar to post, sleeping here, sleeping there, using drugs, not connected to anything of real value. So one day, she's out looking for dope.
That's when friends tell her about a Haitian-born dealer, 31-year-old McKinley Desir. He's a one-stop shop to get your fix.
Thanks, dude. Take it easy.
Janae tracks him down in the parking lot of a local motel. She tells him she's looking to score cocaine and flashes some cash she earned turning tricks. But McKinley takes one look at her and says he has another payment planned in mind.
I want some more than your money.
He was a very nice-looking young man who knew how to talk to young women. He knew what to say, he knew how to say it. He was very effective.
McKinley had two sides to him. One, the personable side you would see when you first met him, and then after a while you would see the business side of him.
The wayward teenager has just unknowingly wandered into the trap of the ultimate street predator. a true hustler who slings drugs and pimps on the side.
He preyed on people who were insecure or didn't have a home or were looking for love.
And right away, he sees that Janae is just his type.
He could see the need and the loss and the abandonment in her. It was probably in her eyes.
They drive 20 miles north to Hollywood, Florida, where he lives in a 2-bedroom apartment. Desperate to get high, and no stranger to selling her body, she agrees to swap sex for the drugs. The smooth Haitian shows her a tenderness she's never experienced. Afterward, McKinley makes his new girl a proposition she can't refuse.
McKinley invited Janae to live with him so she could have a household to live in, something that she didn't have before.
I get you the fix you need and look out for you.
He's promising her all the drugs that she might need. He's good looking. He's got a nice car. He's saying all the right things.
The lost teenager can't believe her luck.
Janae was damaged emotionally. McKinley gave her this false sense of feeling secure, that everything would be okay. And she came to call him daddy. And that's very symbolic because she never truly had her father in her life.
She was all in. She felt like she was gonna finally be at home and somebody was gonna love her.
She moves in, but McKinley makes it clear she must earn her keep.
And all she had to do was to sell her body, make some money.
She doesn't hesitate and does whatever he asks of her.
Yes, Daddy.
Before long, McKinley becomes more to Janae than just her pimp.
She fell in love with him. He saw that she's a prophet and that he can put more money in his pocket.
It's quite possible that she really did love him, but perhaps this was some sort of a Stockholm syndrome where a person who has the power of life and death over you, you see this person as a god, and you mistake whatever moments of kindness as their perhaps caring about you, but they really don't.
Pretty soon, the silver-tongued hustler realizes that this girl is different.
It's not a bad idea.
She's very intelligent and she's a go-getter. And McKinley saw that. McKinley saw that this is a woman that is business-minded, she's smart, and she's gonna make me money.
After just a few months, he gives his best girl even more responsibility. He promotes her to be his right-hand woman, the enforcer, someone to help him keep his stable of women in line. And she takes her new job as serious as the boss.
Come on, John! You keep still!
He took that lifestyle that she enjoyed and took it up 10 notches.
She was a monster, the monster that he had wanted her to become.
In Hollywood, Florida, Janae Rembert finally feels like she's part of a family after her new pimp, McKinley Daddy Desir, promotes her.
She looked after the girls, explaining to them what they would need to be doing. It was her job to make sure that the girls gave the money and everything they received, and she would keep control of them.
I'll be watching you.
For the first time in her life, she felt like she was a part of something.
She jumps into her new job with both feet and proves herself right away, devising a way to drum up new business.
She created an email address and used that email address to create an account on the social bulletin board. Now, after Janae sets up the site, he would use her to take pictures of girls and post them for escort services.
Pretty soon, business is booming.
So Janae would get a response to her posting. You know, so guys looking for a date with these girls. She was in control of where the meet was gonna be, or when the time was gonna be.
But McKinley's stable of working girls aren't exactly willing recruits. Like Janae, most are addicts he lured in with the deadly combination of a free high and false hope.
He promised these girls a better life. He promised them that they'll have clothes, money, stability, things that they probably didn't have or that they looked forward to.
But then after the carrot comes the stick.
As soon as they grew comfort, he would pull them back and say, okay, time for you to go to work.
We need this.
To keep his girls in the family, the self-proclaimed daddy takes no chances.
He would keep the clothing for the girls, their phones, any of their personal articles in his house where he had control of them.
He padlocks the women in an efficiency attached to his apartment so they can't escape.
And then he would take them around to whatever motels or areas where these girls have sex.
He keeps his girls docile with pills and crack cocaine. The only time they see the light of day is when he forces them to go to work.
The women, they were sleeping with 4 or 5 men a day, $60 to $100 a pop, but they didn't get any of the money.
While they're servicing the men, Janae embraces her role as enforcer, waiting in the bathroom to make sure everything goes as planned.
Well, Janae would follow whatever instruction McKinley gave her. If McKinley said to go slap the girl to keep her in line, she would do it.
Janae was on the team. She was willing to do whatever she needed to do for McKinley to be happy, for their business to be successful.
Because McKinley basically views the other women in the house as slaves, Janae was manipulated into thinking the same way, almost identifying with the aggressor, because she felt that he had saved her from a life of peril on the streets and owed that to him.
Together, they hold as many as 8 girls at a time against their will. McKinley does whatever it takes to keep them in line.
I would start yelling at them. When the yelling wasn't giving them the response that he needed, then hitting them was the next step. And that progressed all the way up to putting a gun to their head. One of the punishments he would do to them is put a gun to the side of the head and dry fire the gun.
They don't know if there's bullets in the chamber or what, but just imagine what that must have been like for these women. They didn't know if they were gonna die locked up in this room.
For 3 years, their sex trade operation runs like a well-oiled machine, with McKinley at the helm and Janae by his side. The partnership is so strong, she even asks for a special ceremony.
I don't know if it was a legal wedding, but Janae wanted to get married, so it's a reassurance that he wasn't going to get rid of her, that he was going to keep her forever.
Then late one night that summer, Janae takes her loyalty to her new husband one step further. While 2 of their girls are resting in between Johns inside the efficiency, Daddy lets his guard down and forgets to lock their door.
He had fallen asleep. 2 of his captive women, Angel and Diamond, were there. They were awake. They chose that opportunity as their time to get some pills that they both wanted to take.
They sneak back to their room, but don't exactly cover their tracks. As soon as McKinley wakes up and sees his stash missing, there are only 2 possible culprits. Furious, he grabs the girls.
He called Janae. The 4 of them got into the car. The 2 captive women didn't know what was going on.
They drive down a dark, secluded street and arrive at an abandoned house. He orders his wife to discipline the girls.
Teach these girls a lesson.
Come on, get out.
Janae got Angel out of the car, took her into the house.
McKinley keeps Diamond in the car with him and waits. Inside the abandoned house, according to Angel, the enforcer beats her with her bare hands.
She ended up knocking one of her teeth out.
The behavior was escalating. There's only a finite time before something goes wrong.
She then wraps her hands around Angel's neck.
She was saying to her repeatedly, "Why did you disrespect Daddy?"
You think you're gonna disrespect Daddy, huh?
Next to California and Texas, Florida has the 3rd highest rate of reported sex trafficking cases per year in the United States.
We average about 400 cases. There's a very diverse population here, people who come from all over the world.
Many of the women and children involved as the victims come from the Caribbean, come from South America. They're down on their luck and therefore become at risk for these sexual predators. And it's a very serious problem.
Teach these girls a lesson.
In Hollywood, Florida, Janae Rembert is the enforcer in a prostitution ring. After beating down Angel, one of the girls that she and her husband, McKinley, Daddy Desir, hold captive, she wraps her hands around the girl's throat.
She ended up choking her into unconsciousness. And by the time the woman came to, they were on their way back to the car.
Janae then grabs their other captive, Diamond, and drags her into the house for her beating.
Meanwhile, Angel is in the car. Daddy told her to put her head down, and he's blasting her and telling her, "You better be glad that we didn't kill you."
The message is received.
But the threats they did to these girls was to let them know that if they didn't comply with what they wanted them to do, there were consequences, up until death.
Janae is so brainwashed by McKinley that she becomes an extension of him, and she does whatever he asks her to do, no questions asked. She wanted to show him that she was completely on his side.
Janae has never been a violent person, but when she got with McKinley, he hardened her. He made her someone she's not.
While this husband and wife team keep their girls in line, the Boynton Beach police are closing in. They have uncovered the online escort service ads that Janae has been posting and set up a sting operation.
We responded to an ad, and it was for a two-girl special. We had an undercover officer posed as a John, staying at a hotel. We had surveillance teams in place.
Janae and one of their girls show up to the motel room.
You can see that Janae was clearly in control of the conversation and what was going down. They discussed what sex act they were going to do and how much money it was.
With the deal in place, police swarm the hotel room and arrest both women. They're hauled down to the station for questioning. Janae is first up. During the sting, it was obvious she's the one in charge.
It became pretty clear to the police that Janae was the one behind those ads.
The hardened enforcer is calm and cool. She refuses to give up any details of their operation, including her husband.
She was loyal. I asked her if anybody else was involved in it, and she said solely herself.
But the other girl is visibly shaken. Seeing a chance to finally wake up from this nightmare, she tells investigators everything she knows about Janae and McKinley. As the girl talks, it becomes clear to police that this is more than just a simple prostitution case. And apparently, they aren't the only ones interested in the Haitian pimp.
We were contacted shortly after by the FBI, who, unbeknownst to us, was also working a case on McKinley. And we got together and spoke about my case and their cases.
The FBI have spoken with another victim that backs up all the claims against Janae and her daddy.
One of the girls who was being held hostage in McKinley's apartment got a hold of his phone and texted her mother about what was happening. So that fact, coupled with what happened with the arrest in the hotel room, is making it pretty clear to the authorities that there is a sex ring happening here.
Janae's instantly arrested and charged with sex trafficking. Realizing she's caught, she finally comes clean.
This agent got her to see the severity of the situation she was in. And so Janae, understanding and realizing that, knew that she really had no choice but to turn against McKinley.
I was just totally taken aback because I didn't know she was this far in. I didn't know she had became this person, and it was just so sad.
Investigators immediately hunt down McKinley outside of their home and also arrest him for sex trafficking. Although multiple women were victimized, only 2 are courageous enough to speak out. That spring, husband and wife go to trial and plead not guilty. McKinley Desir is convicted of 1 count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, threats, fraud, or coercion, and is sentenced to life in prison.
Janae got convicted of 1 count of conspiracy of committing sex trafficking. She got 15 years for her role in trafficking these girls.
The 21-year-old now understands that her desperation to be part of a family and find love made her vulnerable to the likes of McKinley. She spends her time preparing for the day she will be released.
I understand that in prison she is thriving, she's getting some education, she feels true remorse for what she's done.
She's mentoring those who are with her. She knows that when she gets out, she wants a better life. She wants to be a model citizen.
Janae treated these women so badly, possibly because of her own upbringing and how dysfunctional that it was. And so she became desensitized to the feelings of others. Plus, McKinley was the only person who seemed to have validated her and given her a love that she never had in her life before.
Everyone remembers their first love. That flood of emotion. The newness of it all. A feeling so intense, it's like a drug. But sometimes, when you're young and in love, you'll do anything to make sure that romantic high lasts forever. You get desperate, reckless, and before you know it, you're no longer living in a love story. You've created a nightmare. Christmas Eve, 1992. It's a chilly night in Dayton, Ohio. Residents are settling in for the night amid the warmth of friends, family, and holiday lights. Suddenly, gunfire pierces the quiet Five Oaks neighborhood on the city's west side. Within minutes, the police arrive.
There's multiple uniformed Dayton police officers there securing the scene.
It seems that a young woman has been shot to death at a payphone.
We can see that she suffered several gunshot wounds. It just appeared to me that she was just caught off guard. She's trapped there.
The brutality of the attack alarms investigators.
Multiple gunshot wounds tend to get our attention a lot quicker than other cases. It shows extreme propensity to violence.
The woman has no purse, wallet, or ID. And investigators have no idea who she is or why this happened.
We need to get her identified. We need to find out why she was making a phone call.
What detectives don't realize is that identifying who killed this woman and why will lead them to the unlikeliest of suspects and into a story of young love gone horribly awry. Dayton teenager Laura Taylor had big plans for her future. She was a member of her high school's ROTC program and wanted to be a Marine.
Laura was 16 years old and a tiny, sweet-looking little girl.
Laura definitely had family that cared about her. She had a lot of emotional connection.
But in spite of her parents' support and her own ambition, Laura, like so many high school girls, soon began to test the boundaries of good behavior.
She had a family. She had structure, but she didn't want that. She wanted to walk on the wild side.
During her junior year, Laura started skipping school and sneaking out after curfew.
Her parents had trouble controlling her.
The situation only got worse once Laura fell in with a group of kids who weren't afraid to take their rebellious ways to the next level.
We didn't like authority and wanted to drink and smoke marijuana.
They formed this group and they became each other's family. They were crashing at various places. They were living in cars sometimes. They were committing petty crimes to get money.
Then, one night in November, while partying with her new crew, Laura laid eyes on 19-year-old Marvellis Keene. Tall, handsome, and well-built, Marvellis had a reputation as someone folks didn't want to mess with.
Marvellis wanted to be bad, to appear bad.
Laura was immediately drawn to Marvellis's bad boy swagger. She'd never met a guy like him. When Marvellis saw something he wanted, he went after it. And apparently, what he wanted was Laura.
It's like, oh God, this man is showing me so much attention. We don't even know what we're doing because we're young.
The spark was instant. And from that night on, Laura and Marvellis were inseparable.
The relationship with Laura and Marvellis was pretty fast-paced, but that's not uncommon because to a teenager, a month may seem like a year. They feel so in love, and a lot of that is based off of those intense emotions that they're feeling.
With eyes only for Marvellis, Laura's plans for her future quickly faded away.
She didn't go to school. She chose to run away to be with Marvellis. She wanted to be free.
Marvellis and Laura, they want to be king, queen.
But Laura and Marvellis's whirlwind romance was about to take a deadly detour. It's Christmas Eve, and police have found a young black female gunned down at a payphone.
My initial thoughts are try to figure out who she is, try to figure out why she's here.
Detectives survey the scene and immediately make an important note.
It's cold. She wasn't wearing a coat and did not have shoes on. And that struck me as odd.
The victim's socks are also clean, which implies to investigators that her assailant stole her coat and shoes. And while the missing shoes and coat indicate the victim's been robbed, the heinous nature of the attack suggests a more personal motive.
She was defenseless. She had been shot multiple times. They shot her at close range, so it's not like you could survive all of that.
Because it was such a violent thing, everyone thought this wasn't a random shooting.
In total, police discover more than a dozen bullet casings around the victim. However, the ammo used in the crime is fairly unique.
This was called blazer ammunition, and it's not something we would usually see at a crime scene. We would typically see it used at a range for practice.
Blazer bullets could bring investigators one step closer to the killer, but they still need to ID their victim. Luckily, detectives don't have to look far.
We were fortunate because she was from the neighborhood, and we learned her identity to be 18-year-old Danita Gillette. She had left her residence to go make a call on the payphone and never returned.
As patrol officers stand watch over the crime scene, detectives deliver the grim news of Danita's death to her family.
I couldn't believe it. It felt like everything was going in slow motion.
She was caring, she was loving, she had a sweet spirit. She was amazing as a mother.
Danita had a baby girl that she was raising on top of going to school, and she was trying to better herself and make a great life for her and her daughter.
She went to school to be an architect. She was like, I'm going to make us a house.
According to Danita's family, the single mother had no enemies, no drama in her life of any kind. Her being murdered like this simply doesn't make sense.
I was like, no, she's not dead. And I just couldn't believe that she was gone. My heart was broken.
I felt helpless. I just kept trying to piece together this crime in my mind.
By all accounts, this was just a normal, everyday, down-to-earth lady that's been murdered for no reason. The responsibility rests with us to find out who did that and why.
But before detectives can bring Danita's killer to justice, another shocking crime rocks the city of Dayton.
Little did we know that this was just the beginning and that in 48 hours, 6 people would be dead.
Laura Taylor and boyfriend Marvellis Keene were young and in love.
Laura Marvellis connected pretty quickly and was pretty hot and heavy.
But soon, detectives would uncover an undercurrent of darkness running through their Romeo and Juliet romance. One that would push a young girl to the brink. It's the early morning hours of Christmas Day, and Dayton detectives are trying to figure out who killed 18-year-old Danita Galette. She was found shot to death at a payphone just 24 hours before.
It's difficult to find and identify a suspect. You work your most promising direction until it leads to a dead end, and you go to your next most promising direction.
However, the investigation is about to take another, more shocking turn. Less than 24 hours after discovering Danita's body, police receive word that there's been another deadly incident involving a teenager.
They get a call that a vehicle had hit a tree head-on.
First thing I see when I get there is this car up against a tree with heavy damage to the front end.
Detectives find a young man behind the steering wheel. He's deceased and seems to have died instantly. But it's clear that the cause of death wasn't the car crash.
He had been shot in the right temple.
Merry Christmas, we've got a homicide.
There's a massive amount of blood in the car on the driver's side, and windows were up, they were all intact. It was obvious that whatever occurred inside the car.
Meaning the person who had to have shot him was sitting in the front passenger seat.
A fact that suggests the victim knew his killer.
You don't have too many strangers seated next to you in the front seat of your car.
It did not appear to be a robbery, and it certainly wasn't a random shooting.
Detectives identify the victim as 19-year-old Richmond Maddox.
We did a background check. Richmond Maddox was a good kid. He had no criminal record, seemed to be doing well and making his way in life.
He was not unlike our victim on Christmas Eve in that he seemingly had no problems with anyone and was just a good young man.
Two teenagers shot dead within 24 hours. Could these crimes be related? Detectives look for similarities between the two cases.
Looking at the bullet wound to the head, we learned that it was a shot from a .32 caliber gun, but at the scene of Danita Galette. The weapon used was a .25 caliber automatic.
Detectives didn't find the blazer shell casings that were used in Danita's murder, so they felt the two murders weren't connected.
With two different guns and two different types of ammo, detectives consider another frightening possibility: that there's not one, but two killers on the loose in Dayton this Christmas.
Not that any particular homicide makes sense, but these were particularly senseless. We just kept asking ourselves, why?
Whoever pulled that trigger must have fled the scene just before or after the car hit the tree. Maybe someone in the neighborhood caught a glimpse of the killer.
There was a witness who actually observed a young black female jump from the car prior to it crashing and then ran away.
Who is this mystery woman? In search of answers, detectives speak with the family of Richmond Maddox.
Detectives talked to his family to see if they had any idea who could have been in the car with him that night.
We learned that an ex-girlfriend had called him a couple of times that night.
According to Richmond's family, that ex-girlfriend is 16-year-old Laura Taylor. Police are skeptical a 16-year-old girl would execute her ex-boyfriend in the front seat of a car. But with no other leads, they must exhaust all possibilities.
At that point in time, we were looking for Laura Taylor.
Upon reaching Laura's home, detectives observe that it certainly doesn't look the part of a killer's residence.
It didn't appear that there was chaos or drugs in the home or violence in the home, anything like that, just an average home.
However, Laura's family informs police that their daughter had started acting out a few months prior. And over the last several weeks, things had only gotten worse.
We learned that she has been gone about 2.5 weeks and that they don't know where she is.
After speaking with Laura's family, detectives issue a bolo on the 16-year-old runaway. No sooner has the bolo gone out than Dayton police receive word of yet another homicide.
Everyone was saying, oh my God, this is the worst Christmas. What terrible, terrible crimes have happened.
In an effort to stem this wave of holiday violence, police will uncover evidence that proves these crimes are connected after all, and that the motive is rooted in one young woman's love for her man.
One of the evidence technicians yells, "You need to take a look at this." That's when it really hit us.
Love can absolutely cause us as women to do things that we would never normally do.
Dayton, Ohio detectives are desperate to find the killers responsible for gunning down 2 teenagers. There are few leads in either case, but 16-year-old Laura Taylor is wanted for questioning in the murder of Richmond Maddox, her ex-boyfriend. There's just one problem. Laura is nowhere to be found.
Laura Taylor chose to run away 2 weeks prior to Christmas and not come home.
Then, on the morning of December 26th, the homicide unit gets summoned to a 3rd crime scene.
A robbery occurs at a mini-mart there in West Dayton. 2 people have been shot.
All the victims have been removed to a hospital. A gunshot wound leaves blood spatter like no other injury. We could tell that obviously someone was shot behind the counter by someone standing in front of the counter. There's blood in 2 other areas, and this is a very, very small store. But there's still nowhere to run. You're trapped.
Robberies occur all over the country all the time. People come in and wield a gun or a knife, take money and leave. But on this case, it was just particularly brutal. Hard to imagine someone doing this.
First responders informed detectives that there were 2 victims with gunshot wounds. 64-year-old customer Jones Pettis was shot in the stomach, but thankfully, the injury isn't life-threatening. 38-year-old store owner and mother Sarah Abraham wasn't as fortunate. She was shot multiple times and died shortly after arriving at the hospital.
Everyone in the neighborhood loved Sarah. She treated everyone with dignity. She came to work every day. She had no problems with anyone.
She's just a nice lady. Everyone thought the world of her.
A 3rd person, 71-year-old mini-mart employee Jimmy Thompson, is miraculously unharmed. Jimmy gives detectives a terrifying first-hand account of the shooting.
He said 2 black males, both armed, entered the corner market.
2 individuals had robbed Sarah at gunpoint and got $40. And then after getting the money, shot her, just point blank in the face. They also shot Jones Pettis and intended to shoot a 3rd victim who just feigned being shot and fell down and was not injured.
Jimmy Thompson also explains that he's not the only one lucky enough to survive the shooting.
Police learned at the time of the robbery, a small young black female had been inside of the store.
She was a customer and buying something. She was short 5 cents, and one of the gentlemen in the store gave her a nickel.
Jimmy says the girl was in the back of the store when the killers stormed in, but she fled shortly after the shooting. Detectives need to find this young woman. She's either a witness or somehow an accomplice. As detectives are questioning Jimmy Thompson, a technician calls out from across the store.
One of the evidence technicians yells for me and says, "You need to take a look at this." What he's found is shell casings. It's the .25 automatic blazer ammunition, identical to the type of shell casings that we had at the payphone homicide on Christmas Eve.
It's not typical of what you find generally at crime scenes. It's aluminum, cheap, throwaway. It's just not the typical ammunition that's used.
They have now seen these same shell casings at 2 different homicide scenes. They know they have a problem on their hands.
Detectives can't help but wonder, are all three shootings, which initially seemed unrelated, actually a part of a larger crime spree?
Blazer ammunition is found at the Gillette shooting. Blazer ammunition at the Sarah Abraham shooting. A young black girl is seen at Richmond Maddox shooting. A young black girl is seen at the Mini Mart. It throws red flags up immediately.
That's when it really hit us. These homicides were connected, which is bad because these are seemingly innocent random victims, which means we've probably got a set of spree killers on our hands. And that's as bad as it gets.
If a spree killer, or killers, are stalking Dayton, then police have no way to predict who will be the next victim. With the city on pins and needles, police receive a phone call, one that could lead them to the perpetrator, if they act fast.
This young man was terrified. He said he had information on who was killing these people, and he was their next target.
There are different types of murderers. A mass murderer typically kills multiple people on one occasion at one location. Serial killers kill multiple people, but there's a time in between. Typically on a serial killer, there's a link somewhere. We were fearing that we had a set of spree killers on our hands. Typically, they're very, very hard to identify because what you have is most of the victims they've never seen before in their life. The victims are all just random, innocent people, and hence the name spree killers. It's a spree. That is terrifying.
"16-year-old runaway Laura Taylor believed she'd found her soulmate in bad boy Marvelous Keene. Their passion for one another was unmatched.
Laura was not accustomed to some of the flashiness that Marvelous showed her. That could definitely impact how infatuated she was.
But soon, homicide detectives in Dayton, Ohio, will discover just how dangerous Laura's infatuation really was. It's been a violent and bloody Christmas weekend in Dayton, Ohio. Over the last 3 days, the homicide squad has been called to not one, but 3 separate shootings.
There was one murder after another, and bodies were piling up. It was shocking, and it was over the holidays where people are with their family and friends.
Similarities in the cases have detectives fearing the worst.
Spree killers, they're like serial killers on crack cocaine. They do it for the fun. Anything else is an afterthought.
The unidentified suspects have been dubbed the Christmas Killers.
People were afraid. They were wondering who was doing this and why, and who was going to be next.
The city's terrified, and it puts a lot more pressure on us. We realize that we've got to locate and identify these people.
Finding the Christmas Killers becomes the Dayton PD's one and only priority.
It's all hands on deck at that time because it's clear they're not going to stop. The only way they're going to stop is if we stop them ourselves.
Nobody was safe. Police had to catch these killers before they killed again.
They would kill again, there was no doubt about it.
Detectives plead for anyone with any information to come forward. And by the afternoon of December 26th, just 5 hours after the Mini Mart shooting, detectives catch a break. Police operators patch through a frantic young man with unmistakable terror in his voice.
He's in a panic, he's freaking out, but he says he has information on who's doing all these killings.
The caller identifies himself as 18-year-old Nicholas Woodson.
I had to call the police and let them know I know who shot the girl at the telephone booth.
Nicholas explains that the other night he was hanging out with a group of fellow teenagers, some of whom he didn't know. And those kids were bragging about having just committed a string of deadly robberies.
These teenagers, they called themselves the Downtown Posse.
Nicholas tells police that the Downtown Posse is rolling around the area in a black Dodge Shadow. When detectives push Nicholas for more details, he becomes hysterical.
My life was in jeopardy now because I knew too much. I knew they was trying to kill me. I was terrified, scared. I said, I really need for y'all to hurry up to come get me, put me in detective custody. The police said they're on their way to get me.
We were clearly anxious and concerned for his own safety.
A patrol unit is immediately dispatched to retrieve Nicholas Woodson, and dispatch issues an APB on the vehicle he described. Sergeant John Huber is the first to get the alert.
I just start checking the major thoroughfares, and I go by known drug houses and areas where people will gather and sell stolen property, and I saw a black Dodge Shadow that I didn't recognize.
Sergeant Huber calls for backup. But as he waits for reinforcements to arrive, 4 teenagers, 2 males and 2 females, emerge from a nearby home and get inside the vehicle. They drive away, and Sergeant Huber cautiously follows.
They went about a block and a half. I put the lights on and he pulled over.
Sergeant Huber is all alone. If these teens really are the Christmas killers, he knows they could greet him with guns blazing.
The officer knows anytime there is an arrest situation, there's a good chance that it could turn violent. I mean, you have no idea what you're getting into.
It was very tense. The adrenaline was up. I began approaching cautiously, and she had ordered the driver to shoot me.
Police in Dayton, Ohio, are engaged in a massive manhunt for the Christmas killers, who have been on a 3-day rampage across the city. Now, Sergeant John Huber is closing in on a suspicious vehicle that matches a description provided by tipster Nicholas Woodson.
You had to think that we were probably going to have a standoff of some sort with the suspects.
It was a very tense situation. The officer's adrenaline was pumping like crazy.
I pulled out my handgun and began approaching cautiously and started yelling to raise your hands, everybody in the car. The person behind the driver did not raise them. She had him on the back of the front seat. And then she ordered the driver to shoot me.
But before the driver can draw his weapon, an unmarked police car speeds up and lands nose to nose with the suspect's vehicle.
Detective Tom Lawson came out, training his gun on everybody in the car. That was very nice backup, and I thought, the cavalry's here now. Everyone was handcuffed, very lucky that it didn't deteriorate into a gun battle, and very glad that they were off the street.
The first 3 suspects, DeMarcus Smith, Heather Matthews, and Marvellis Keene, haven't been on detectives' radar in this case.
The day we were arrested, I was just scared. I just felt like my life was just done.
But the 4th, Laura Taylor, has been linked to the case since the murder of victim number 2, 19-year-old Richmond Maddox.
Richmond Maddox was Laura Taylor's ex-boyfriend. She had called him to meet him, and he shot in the head in his own car.
After placing Laura and the 3 other suspects in a squad car, police searched the car for evidence and find 2 loaded guns.
One of them is a .25 caliber pistol, and it has blazer ammunition, and the other is a .32, which is the kind of gun that was used to kill Richmond Maddox.
The suspects are transferred to the station for questioning. As for tipster Nicholas Woodson, he is already at the station.
We had a police officer to pick him up and bring him to the police station for his safety so he could tell what all was going on.
I was just like, God, I'm glad they just, got caught at the nick of time.
In an interview room not far from where the suspects are being held, Nicholas tells detectives everything he knows.
Nicholas tells police that the suspects were bragging the day after they shot Danita Goulet.
When they came to my house, my friend had told me somebody died on the news. She was 18, so I asked them about it. And he was like, yeah, we did it.
They tell you what they'd taken from her?
Her shoes. That's about it.
Based on Nicholas's statement, detectives ascertain that Marvellis is the ringleader of the group, and that his second in command is his girlfriend, Laura Taylor. They take a run at Laura first.
The detectives thought since she was so young, it would be easy to get a confession out of her, but she wouldn't say a word.
However, Marvellis, along with fellow suspects Heather Matthews and DeMarcus Smith, have plenty to say.
Marvellis Keene said they were a gang and that they called themselves the Downtown Posse.
Marvellis Keene, DeMarcus Smith, and Laura Taylor came upon Danita Gillette while she was at this payphone.
What happened?
We just walked by, thought it was robber, said she got some money.
She ain't got no money. Then he would take off her shoes and that flannel was like that. Yeah, so she took it off. The dude was like, Merry Christmas. Pow, pow, pow. Now I saw one time like, pow.
According to Marvellis, since this deadly robbery only netted a pair of shoes and a flannel coat, the Downtown Posse still needed cash. That's when 16-year-old Laura stepped up.
Marvellis says, hey, we need some money. Laura says, well, I've got an idea.
Laura said, I used to date a man, and he always has money or something of value that we can steal.
Did Laura tell you about her ex-boyfriend, Maddox?
Maddox. Yeah.
She said she'd take his money. She'd shoot him and take his money.
She ended up getting in the car with him?
Yeah, and I followed him.
Richmond mentioned to Laura that he thought someone was following them, and he started getting nervous.
And then he, pulled off a little bit, real fast, he pressed on the gas. And then I seen my girlfriend, Lauren, roll out the car. And I thought he did something to her. Then I seen he accelerated and hit the tree.
That's when Marvellis picked Laura up.
Well, what'd she say she did?
Huh? She said she shot.
She was like, I shot him in the head, I shot him in the head. She had blood all over him.
Laura wanted to show that she was valuable in the relationship.
Laura was trying to please her man, and she was giving up people that she knew that had money, and everybody Laura offered up, they died.
According to the statements of the other suspects, it was also Laura's idea to target the mini-mart the following morning.
Laura was going to go in to case the environment, and the deal was that if she didn't come out after a certain amount of time, that meant it was clear and they could come in and rob the store.
Who went in the store first?
Laura.
Laura went in first.
Though, according to the suspect's statements, once inside the store, it was Laura's boyfriend Marvellis who pulled off the stick-up.
She shot those girls like, pow, pow, like that.
After shooting owner Sarah Abraham and store customer Jones Pettis, the trio fled the scene with cash in hand, albeit a pretty paltry sum.
How much she give you?
It was $41 bills.
But for Marvellis and Laura, cash was no longer king.
It was an adrenaline rush. Once the bullets started flying, they tasted blood. And Laura liked it. She liked the excitement. She liked the power and the control of taking someone's life.
But just when the case seemingly can't get more depraved, it takes another shocking turn.
Police thought they could finally relax, but they found more victims.
They're committed to each other because they're in love, and those feelings are very intense. On top of that, we know that teens are impulsive. We know that teens work from their emotions and their feelings, and it's not always logical in what they choose to do. So you could very well have a girl making a decision to commit a crime or to do something that she knows is not the right thing to do.
Dayton police have arrested a group of alleged teenage spree killers known as the Downtown Posse. The ringleader appears to be 19-year-old Marvelous Keene, and his 16-year-old girlfriend, Laura Taylor, is his lieutenant.
Laura Taylor looked like a sweet, innocent teenage girl, but she wouldn't cooperate with police whatsoever.
Laura refuses to implicate boyfriend Marvelous, his pal DeMarcus Smith, or Heather Matthews in any wrongdoing. But Marvelous informs detectives that there's another murder, which was actually the posse's very first, that the cops don't even know about.
Marvelous said, "We need money." Laura Taylor immediately offers up Joe Wilkerson.
We was talking to him about having an orgy.
According to Marvelous, under the guise of having sex, he, Laura, and Heather Matthews went over to Joseph's house in the early morning hours of Christmas Eve.
What were you guys planning on doing once you got there?
Just planning on getting his money and stuff.
Getting his money and stuff? Just robbing him?
Yeah.
Marvelous King pulled a gun on him. Had the girls tie this victim up. Then they ransacked the house, taking things.
Okay, what happened now?
I shot him.
You shot him? Where'd you shoot him? What part of the body?
In the chest.
He's still alive. And Marvelous hands the gun to Laura Taylor, as if, here it is. This is yours to do as well. Join me in this.
Laura shot him? Where'd she shoot him?
In the head.
When we see women that have committed crimes, a lot of times it's actually in connection to a romantic partnership. She's going along for the ride, and sometimes with love, you're willing to do things that you wouldn't normally do.
They fed off each other as each body dropped. It made them that much bolder, which made them that much more dangerous.
Operating off of Marvelous Keene's statement, police recover the body of Joseph Wilkerson inside his home. But the body count doesn't end there. It starts when a local reverend, convinced of Laura's innocence, pays her a visit at the county jail.
The Reverend really thought she couldn't have done these horrible crimes because, again, here's this poor little unfortunate 16-year-old girl who's now been arrested for multiple counts of murder.
But when the Reverend leaves the interview room, he looks like he's seen a ghost.
He was obviously upset. I could hear it in his voice. He said, "I can tell you where 2 more bodies are. They killed 2 more.
According to Laura, the other 2 victims are 16-year-old Wendy Cottrell and her boyfriend, 18-year-old Marvin Washington.
Ironically, the final 2 victims were members of this downtown posse, one of them being close friends with Laura Taylor. But the posse became afraid that they were going to police, so they had to get rid of them.
They were taken out to this isolated area and they were assassinated.
With Laura's confession, the death toll now stands at 6. But despite assisting her boyfriend and his posse in the murder of half a dozen innocent people, Laura seems unrepentant.
This was not poor little Laura Taylor. This was vicious, violent Laura Taylor in the package of a young, innocent child. She was very hardened, as much as any criminal I've ever dealt with in my career.
Laura Taylor, Marvelous Keene, DeMarcus Smith, and Heather Matthews are charged with aggravated murder and aggravated robbery. As the trials of the Christmas killers grab headlines, the story remains focused on how Laura Taylor went from a gentle teen to a ruthless killer.
Laura, during the trials, she did not think she was going to be convicted. And it showed in her relaxed behavior in the courtroom. She showed zero remorse.
At this point in my career, I'd seen mass murderers, serial killers. I'd seen some very, very vicious killers that scared me. I'd never met anyone like Laura Taylor.
In the end, Laura is found guilty of all charges. 20-year-old Heather Matthews and 17-year-old DeMarcus Smith are also convicted and sentenced to life in prison.
I've done horrible things. There's a lot of things that I regret and that I've taken responsibility for everything I've been a part of.
Laura's boyfriend, Marvelous Keene, is sentenced to death. Because she's a minor, Laura is spared the death penalty. Instead, she is sentenced to 133 years in prison.
It's been 25 years since my sister has been gone, and my heart is still broken. It's like somebody came in your house, took the best thing that you had, and then you spent a lifetime trying to replace it.
Marvelous Keene was executed on July 21st, 2009. Unlike her boyfriend or her victims, Laura Taylor will have the rest of her life to question if her love for Marvelous was really worth the consequences.
The love that Marvelous and Laura share caused a lot of pain and suffering for a lot of people.
You shouldn't have to do anything crazy to show and prove your love to your man. That's just doing something stupid out of love.
Young love. It's heady, passionate, like a fever dream. But when being in love causes you to lose your grip on what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's evil. When you finally come to, you just might realize that dream was a nightmare all along.
All right, guys, thank you very much for coming today. I have called you for a very special thing. We have an event day after tomorrow, and Khushi, you will make the necessary arrangements. Khushi,
Yeah, sure, sir.
you seem a bit off today.
Everything is good, sir. Don't worry, I will do.
All right, I am counting on you. All the very best.
ਕੱਲ ਰਾਤੀ ਰੋਈਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਏ ਤੂੰ ਵੀ ਰੋਇਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਚ ਲੜਾ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਚ ਅੜੇ ਤੂੰ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਖਰੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਦਿਖਾਵੇਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਨਾ ਸਤਾਇਆ ਕਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੀ ਜਾਨ ਨਿਕਲ ਨਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਮੈਂ ਜਦ ਵੀ ਕੁਝ ਬੋਲਾਂ तेरा नाम बुलाते आवे ना 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 ਪੁੱਛਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੱਚ ਸੱਚ ਦੱਸੀ ਵੇ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਗੱਲ ਵੇ ਤੂੰ ਦਿਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖੀ ਵੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਵੇ ਤੇਰਾ ਮੇਰਾ प्यार वे सुन मेरी सुन ले यार वे नहीं सोना लगदा है जदों भी लड़दा है जद भी किसे ना गल करा मैनू पता वेख के सड़दा है राज राज तू हर वारी राज तू हर वारी लाने लावे इन्ना ना सताया कर मैनू मेरी जान निकल ना जावे मैं जद भी कुछ बोला तेरा नाम बुलाते आवे सारा दिन बिजी रहना है तू यारां दे नाल बहना है तेरी दूरी ते मजबूरी दिल मेरा ए सहंदा है किथे जावां ना जावां हर एक गल मैं पुछदी आ मैनू कदे मनाउंदा नहीं तू मैं किन्ना रुसदी आ मैनू चंगा लगदा है मैनू चंगा लगदा है भावें सिर मेरा तू खावे इन्ना ना सताया कर मैनू मेरी जान निकल ना जावे मैं जद भी
तो अभी अभी आपने हमारा दुनिया सॉन्ग देखा, सो प्लीज कमेंट करके बताना कि आपको सॉन्ग कैसा लगा।
एंड हाँ, वीडियो को लाइक करना, जाने से पहले रिपल म्यूजिक स्टूडियोज के चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लेना। थैंक यू, बाय बाय एवरीवन।